Hello there and welcome. Tonight we are going to walk alongside the true kings of the earth. We are entering the quiet, vast world of the elephant. You might think you know these animals, but tonight we are going to look past the tusks and the grey skin to find the secrets hidden inside. We will meet a creature that can hear a storm coming from 50 miles away, not with its ears, but by listening to the vibrations in the soil through the soles of its feet. We will discover an animal that has the emotional intelligence to weep for its dead, gently caressing the bones of ancestors it has not seen in years. We will look into the mind of a giant that can recognize itself in a mirror, possessing a level of self-awareness that rivals our own. And we will trace their history back to the Ice Age, when their hairy ancestors walked silently through the snows of the north. But these facts are not a lesson, they are a rhythm. They are a slow, heavy, steady beat designed to pull you out of the modern world and into the timeless pace of nature. Imagine you are lying in the tall, soft grass of a vast savanna. The sun is setting, painting the sky in gold and violet. The air is warm and still. You are safe. You are part of the herd, and our journey is ready to begin. When we look at an elephant, our eyes are immediately drawn to size. We see a mountain of muscle and bone, a creature that can weigh up to 6 tons, moving across the landscape like a living boulder. But the true secret of the elephant is not its size, it is its profound sensitivity. Despite their immense bulk, an elephant can walk through a dry forest without snapping a single twig. They are masters of silence. Their world is not defined by brute force, but by an intricate web of invisible signals. They are constantly communicating in a secret language that flows beneath the range of human hearing, a silent hum that connects the herd across miles of open plain. To understand the elephant is to understand that strength does not have to be loud. The most powerful presence in nature is often the quietest. Everything about an elephant is built for patience. In our modern world, we are conditioned to a frantic pace. Our hearts race with stress, our minds jump from thought to thought. But the elephant operates on a different biological time scale, one that is calibrated to the slow turning of the earth. Consider the heart of a mouse. It beats 500 times a minute, a blur of frantic energy burning out in just a few years. Consider the human heart, beating 70 or 80 times a minute. Now, consider the elephant. Inside that massive chest, a heart the size of a basketball beats with a slow, majestic rhythm, just 27 times per minute. Thump, wait, thump, wait. It is a biological metronome of calm. This slow pulse is the secret to their longevity, allowing them to live for 70 years or more. It suggests that to be big, to be wise, and to endure, one must slow down. It is a reminder that life does not need to be rushed to be lived fully. There is one physical limit that the elephant accepts with absolute grace. It cannot jump. In fact, it is the only mammal on land that cannot lift all 4 feet off the ground at the same time. Even a hippopotamus can become airborne for a split second while running, but the elephant remains tethered. This is not a weakness. It is a necessity of physics. An elephant's skeleton is built differently from other animals. Their legs are not bent like the springs of a dog or a cat. They are stacked vertically, like the stone columns of a Greek temple. This architecture is designed to support immense weight through compression, not to handle the shock of landing a jump. If an elephant were to leap, the impact of 6 tons returning to Earth would shatter these bones. So, they have evolved to stay grounded. They maintain a permanent, unbreakable connection with the earth, never leaving it, always feeling its stability beneath them. To truly understand the elephant, we must look past the bone and into the architecture of the brain itself. It is massive, weighing over 10 pounds, 3 times larger than a human brain. But size is not the most important feature. The secret lies in a specific elongated type of cell called the von Economo neuron, or spindle neuron. For decades, scientists believed these specialized cells existed only in humans and great apes. They are the hardware of connection, the biological circuits associated with social intelligence, empathy, and intuition. But when neuroscientists finally looked inside the elephant's brain, they found them in abundance. This discovery confirms what anyone who has spent time with elephants already knew. These are not machines operating on instinct. They are wired for deep, complex empathy, possessing the biological machinery to feel the joy and the sorrow of others just as acutely as we do. There is a famous experiment in animal psychology called the mirror test. A mark is placed on an animal's head and they are shown a mirror. Most animals, cats, dogs, birds, react aggressively. They think the reflection is a stranger, a rival to be fought. They do not understand that the image is them. But when an elephant looks in a mirror, the reaction is profoundly different. It does not attack. It pauses, it moves its head and watches the reflection move. And then, remarkably, it raises its trunk to touch the white mark on its own face. It realizes that the giant in the glass is itself. This moment of recognition is rare in the animal kingdom. It signifies that an elephant possesses a concept of I. It knows it exists as an individual, separate from the herd, viewing the world through its own unique window. Perhaps the most moving aspect of elephant life is their relationship with death. They are among the very few species that seem to understand the finality of it. When a herd comes across the bones of a dead elephant, even if that elephant died years ago and the bones are bleached white by the sun, a hush falls over the group. The walking stops. The rumble of communication ceases. They approach the bones with a solemn quietness. They do not ignore them. They reach out with their trunks, gently touching the skull and the tusks, turning the bones over delicately in the dust. They are investigating them with a sensitivity that looks unmistakably like reverence. It is a slow, silent ritual of remembrance. They are acknowledging that this collection of bones was once a mother, a sister, or a friend. In the wild savanna, the elephant takes the time to honor the memory of what was lost. We often warn against projecting human emotions onto animals, but with elephants, the physical similarities are striking. Elephants produce moisture to keep their eyes healthy, but observers and keepers have reported instances where elephants in situations of extreme distress seem to weep. Streams of liquid running from the eyes of a grieving mother or a calf that has been rejected suggest an emotional release. While science debates the exact chemical composition of these secretions, the visual evidence paints a clear picture. The elephant is an animal that experiences sorrow not just as a chemical signal in the brain, but as a physical weight, a sadness profound enough to overflow. The memory of an elephant is legendary, but this gift comes with a heavy cost. Because their brains are built to retain information for decades, maps of water, seasonal cycles, social hierarchies, they also retain trauma. Elephants that have witnessed violence often show symptoms that are clinically identical to post-traumatic stress disorder in humans. Years after a traumatic event, they may wake up screaming in the night. They may show signs of depression or unpredictable anxiety. They do not simply move on like many prey animals who live only in the present. They carry the past with them. Their history is etched into their minds just as deeply as it is into the landscape, a testament to the complexity and fragility of their emotional world. Their intelligence extends to us. Elephants do not see all humans as the same. They can distinguish between us, not just as individuals, but as cultures. Research in Kenya revealed something remarkable. Elephants can identify different human tribes by scent and sound alone. When elephants smell clothing worn by the Maasai people, warriors who traditionally hunt and defend against elephants, they react with fear and retreat. But when they smell clothing from the Kamba people, farmers who pose no threat, they remain calm. They have learned to read the scent signature of danger itself, categorizing humans into safe and unsafe with a precision that we cannot match. It is a sobering reminder. As we watch them, they are watching us, remembering exactly who we are. If you were to stand in the middle of a herd of elephants grazing on the open savanna, you might think they were silent. You would hear the tearing of grass, perhaps a sigh of breath, but little else. But this silence is an illusion. The air around you would be vibrating with a conversation you cannot hear. Elephants possess a vocal range that extends far below the limits of human perception. We hear sounds down to about 20 hertz. Elephants can produce deep, resonant rumbles as low as 14 hertz. These are infrasonic waves. Because these sound waves are so long and deep, they behave differently than bird song or human speech. They do not get absorbed by trees or bounce helplessly off hills. They flow around obstacles like water. They hug the ground and travel for miles across the landscape without losing their energy. A matriarch can whisper a warning to a male 3 miles away, and he will hear her perfectly, while you, standing right beside her, would hear nothing but the wind. But sound does not just travel through the air, it travels through the earth. When an elephant produces one of these powerful rumbles, the sheer energy of the sound creates a seismic wave in the soil. To capture these signals, elephants have evolved a secondary hearing system located not in their heads, but in their heels. Under the heel of an elephant is a thick, gelatinous pad of fatty tissue called the digital cushion. This pad acts like a sophisticated acoustic sponge. When a vibration hits the foot, it travels through this fat up the leg bones and directly into the skull to the inner ear. This explains a behavior often seen in the wild. An elephant will suddenly freeze and lift one front foot slightly off the ground. It is not resting, it is triangulating. It is pressing the other 3 feet firmly into the soil to listen to the footsteps of a distant rival or the panic of a herd miles away. They are literally listening with their skeletons. In the thick brush of the African bush or the dense bamboo jungles of Asia, visibility is often poor. A herd can be spread out over a large area, with members completely hidden from one another by trees and vines. To stay connected without seeing each other, they use a specific vocalization known as the contact call. It is a low, soft, recurring rumble that repeats every few minutes. Translated, it means simply, "I am here, are you there?" It is a constant acoustic tether. Researchers have observed that the herd moves with a relaxed confidence as long as this low thrum continues. But if the calling stops, if a calf falls silent, the mother's reaction is instant and frantic. They are bound together not by sight, but by this continuous, reassuring vibration that touches them all, a safety net woven out of sound. Despite their size and their thick skin, elephants have vulnerabilities. Their trunks are incredibly sensitive, filled with nerve endings and mucous membranes. A sting inside the trunk is agonizing and potentially dangerous. Because of this, elephants have developed a deep, evolutionary fear of bees. This fear is so specific that they have a word for it. When an elephant hears the buzz of a swarm, it emits a unique, distinctive rumble that researchers call the bee alarm. It is different in frequency and tone from the predator alarm used for lions. When this specific sound is made, the entire herd doesn't just run. They run while shaking their heads violently to prevent insects from landing. Even more remarkably, If you play a recording of this rumble to elephants in a place where there are no bees, they will still flee and shake their heads. The sound itself carries the specific image of the threat, proof of a complex vocabulary where they can describe the world to one another. Elephant society is not a democracy, nor is it ruled by the strongest male. It is a matriarchy. The leader is the oldest, most experienced female. Her authority does not come from aggression, it comes from memory. In the harsh, shifting cycles of the African climate, knowing where to find water during a severe drought is the difference between life and death. The matriarch carries a mental map of the entire landscape that spans decades. She remembers a muddy watering hole she visited once 40 years ago during a similar drought when she was just a calf. She remembers the smell of the wind that day, the shape of the hills, and the exact route to get there. When the usual rivers dry up and the young elephants panic, they look to her. She does not guess, she remembers. She turns and walks with purpose, leading the family across miles of dust to salvation. She is the living library of the herd, carrying the survival of her bloodline inside her mind. In most of the animal kingdom, females reproduce until the very end of their lives. But elephants, like humans and orcas, can live for a long time after they stop having babies. This biological puzzle led scientists to the grandmother hypothesis. An older female who is not nursing her own calf has the surplus energy and wisdom to help her daughters raise theirs. She becomes the protector, the teacher, and the secondary caregiver. Studies have shown that herds with a living grandmother have significantly higher survival rates for the calves. Her presence reduces the stress on the young mothers and provides a buffer against inexperience. In the elephant world, old age is not a burden. It is a biological asset, a reservoir of care that ensures the next generation survives the critical first years. Raising an elephant calf is an exhausting 24-hour job. A new mother cannot do it alone. She needs to eat, sleep, and bathe. This is where the alla mothers step in. The term literally means other mothers. These are usually the adolescent females of the herd, the sisters and cousins who are not yet old enough to have calves of their own. They are eager to practice. They will babysit the calf, following it around, steering it away from thorny bushes, and comforting it if it trips. This system serves a dual purpose. It gives the biological mother a much-needed break, and it gives the teenagers a low-stakes training ground. By the time these young females have their own calves, they are already experts in care, having served their apprenticeship under the watchful eyes of the herd. Elephants form bonds that last a lifetime, but herds often split up to forage and then reunite days later. The moment of reunion is one of the most joyous spectacles in nature. It is called the greeting ceremony. It is not a casual nod. It is an explosion of chaotic happiness. The elephants rush toward each other, flapping their ears wildly to create a loud clapping sound. They spin in circles, urinate uncontrollably from excitement, and scream with trumpets of delight. They entwine their trunks together, placing them in each other's mouths, tasting and smelling the familiar chemistry of their friends. The intensity of this greeting suggests that for an elephant, separation is a form of pain, and reunion is a form of profound relief. It is a celebration of the simple fact that they are together again. We tend to think of an elephant herd as a fixed group, like a wolf pack. But their society is more fluid. It breathes. Scientists call this a fission-fusion society. In the morning, a calf might wake up surrounded by 12 relatives. By midday at the waterhole, that group might merge with another family, swelling to 30 or 40 individuals, a fusion. They mingle, share news and play. But by evening, as resources thin out, the group might split again. A fission. The calf finds itself walking into the sunset with just its mother and a few aunts. This flexibility allows them to adapt to the environment, expanding when food is plentiful and contracting when it is scarce. It is a social structure without rigid walls, defined by a constant rhythmic flow of connection and separation. While the females live surrounded by this web of family, the life of a male elephant, or bull, is defined by a difficult departure. When a male reaches adolescence, around 14 years old, he begins to drift away from the herd. Eventually, he leaves for good. It is not an exile, it is a rite of passage. He enters a much quieter world. He may join a loose group of other males, known as a bachelor herd, where older bulls teach the younger ones how to behave and how to fight. But often, he walks alone. This solitude is essential. It allows him to grow to his full, massive size without competing for the food needed by the mothers and babies. His journey is one of silence and strength, patrolling the edges of the world, a solitary guardian moving through the shadows of the bush. The most iconic feature of the elephant is, of course, the trunk. It hangs from the face like a heavy pendulum, looking simple from the outside. But biologically, it is a masterpiece of engineering called a muscular hydrostat. It contains no bones, it contains no cartilage, it is pure muscle. To put its complexity in perspective, the entire human body contains roughly 600 muscles. An elephant's trunk alone contains over 40,000 individual muscle units. This incredible density allows it to move with liquid fluidity in any direction. It can be rigid enough to knock down a baobab tree, yet flexible enough to wipe the dust from its own eye. It is a tool of infinite versatility, a hose, a hand, a trumpet, and a nose, all woven together into a single, powerful limb that defines how the animal interacts with the world. At the very tip of this massive instrument lies a feature of surprising delicacy. African elephants have two finger-like projections at the end of their trunks. Asian elephants have one. These fingers are incredibly sensitive, packed with nerve endings similar to human fingertips. With this tool, a 6-ton animal can perform acts of microsurgery. An elephant can pluck a single blade of grass from a clump without uprooting the soil. It can pick up a small berry without crushing it. It can untie a knot. This contrast defines the elephant, the ability to wield immense power, but the intelligence to apply it with the gentlest possible touch. It is a precision instrument mounted on a wrecking ball. For centuries, people wondered how elephants could walk for days in the heat without drinking. Recently, scientists discovered a secret anatomical feature that explains this endurance. Buried deep in the throat of an elephant, beneath the tongue, lies a hidden chamber known as the pharyngeal pouch. It is a muscular sac, capable of storing several gallons of water. When an elephant drinks at a river, it does not always swallow immediately. Sometimes it tucks the water away in this biological reservoir, carrying it internally like a living canteen. Hours later, when the sun is high and the throat is dry, the elephant can release this stored water. It can spray it over its back to cool down, or it can share it with a calf who is too small to reach a water source. It is a built-in emergency supply, proof that evolution thinks ahead. Logic dictates that a heavy animal should be loud. A galloping horse makes a thunderous noise, but an elephant moving through the bush is ghostly silent. You can be standing 10 feet away from a passing herd and hear nothing but the snapping of twigs and the soft exhale of breath. The secret lies in their feet. Underneath the heel bones, elephants possess a large, thick pad of fibrous, fatty tissue. This pad acts like a high-performance shock absorber. When the elephant puts its weight down, the pad expands. spreading the toes wide and distributing the massive weight over a large surface area. It muffles the impact completely. They are essentially walking on acoustic foam pillows, allowing the largest land animal to drift through the forest as quietly as a shadow. Living in the heat of the savanna presents a thermodynamic problem. Elephants have immense body mass, which generates a lot of internal heat, but they have very little skin surface area relative to that mass to let the heat escape. They should overheat and die. The solution is their ears. An elephant's ears are not just for hearing, they are biological radiators. The skin on the back of the ear is paper thin, and directly beneath it lies a complex web of prominent blood vessels. As the elephant flaps its ears, it creates a breeze that cools the blood in these vessels by up to 9 degrees Fahrenheit. This cooled blood then circulates back into the body, lowering the core temperature. The slow, rhythmic flapping you see is not just a tick, it is the engine keeping the machine from overheating. If you look closely at an elephant's skin, it looks like a cracked, dried riverbed. It is deeply wrinkled and rough. For a long time, this was thought to be just a sign of age or toughness. But the wrinkles are a sophisticated climate control system. Smooth skin dries out quickly, but the deep crevices and wrinkles of an elephant's skin trap moisture. When an elephant wallows in water or mud, these cracks hold onto the liquid long after the animal has stepped out of the pool. The water trapped in the wrinkles evaporates slowly, providing a cooling effect that lasts 5 to 10 times longer than it would on smooth skin. The cracks are reservoirs, carrying the memory of the waterhole across the hot, dry miles of the trek. To find the closest living relative of the elephant, you should not look to the rhinoceros or the hippo. You should look to the ocean. Genetic mapping has revealed a surprising truth. The elephant's nearest cousins are the sirenians, the manatees and dugongs. These gentle sea cows share a common ancestor with the elephant. Millions of years ago, the family tree split. One branch walked deeper onto the land to become the masters of the earth, while the other returned to the water to become the masters of the seagrass beds. But the connection remains. The elephant's grey, wrinkled skin, its sparse, bristly hair, and its intense love for water are all echoes of this aquatic past. When an elephant submerges itself in a river, using its trunk as a snorkel, it is not just cooling off, it is briefly returning to the element of its ancestors. If we travel back 50 million years to the swamps of North Africa, we would find the great-grandfather of all elephants. But he does not look like a giant. He is called Moeritherium. He was roughly the size of a large pig or a tapir. He had no trunk, just a flexible upper lip, and no tusks to speak of. He lived a semi-aquatic life, wallowing in the mud of ancient river deltas, eating soft water plants. It is a humble beginning. This small, water-loving creature carried within its DNA the potential for greatness, the blueprint that would eventually scale up to become the largest land animal the world has ever seen. As the eons passed, the family tree grew stranger. About 10 million years ago, a terrifyingly large relative walked the earth, the Dinotherium, or terrible beast. It was taller than any modern elephant, a true colossus. But its most striking feature was its tusks. Unlike modern elephants whose tusks curve upward, the Dinotherium had tusks that grew from its lower jaw and curved sharply downward and backward. It looked like a giant with a pair of hooks in its chin. Paleontologists believe it used these strange tools to strip bark from trees or to hoe up plants from the ground. It is a reminder that nature experimented with many different designs before settling on the elephant we know today. The most famous ancestor of all is, of course, the woolly mammoth. These were the elephants of the ice, While their modern cousins adapted to the heat of the savanna, the mammoths adapted to the deep freeze of the Pleistocene. They were wrapped in a double coat, a dense woolly underlayer for warmth and long, coarse guard hairs to shed the snow. Their ears were tiny compared to African elephants, minimizing heat loss. They walked through a white, silent world, their massive, curved tusks acting as snowplows to clear the ground for grazing. They coexisted with early humans, painted on cave walls by firelight, a symbol of the time when the giants ruled the north. Although they are gone, their genetic code is so similar to the Asian elephant that some scientists dream of one day bringing them back. Evolution does not always favor size. Sometimes it thinks small. On islands across the Mediterranean, such as Sicily, Crete, and Cyprus, fossils tell a story of insular dwarfism. When ancient elephants swam to these islands and got stranded, resources were limited. A giant body needed too much food. So over thousands of years they shrank. The result was Paleoloxodon falconeri, a dwarf elephant. An adult stood only about 3 feet tall, roughly the size of a large dog. Imagine a fully formed elephant, complete with tusks and trunk, but small enough to look you in the eye. These mini-elephants lived quiet lives on their island paradises until predators or humans eventually arrived, leaving behind only their tiny bones as a testament to nature's adaptability. Let us pause for a moment and imagine the world as it was 20,000 years ago. The Pleistocene night, the air is sharp and cold, the silence is profound, dampened by deep snow. In the moonlight, a herd of woolly mammoths moves slowly across the tundra. Their breath rises in great white clouds of steam. Their shaggy coats are frosted with ice. There is no sound but the crunch of snow under their massive feet and the occasional low rumble of a mother calling to her calf. It is a scene of perfect frozen peace. The ancestors of the elephants we know today are walking through history, surviving the long winter of the world with slow, steady endurance. To fuel a body that weighs 6 tons, an elephant must eat constantly. They spend up to 18 hours a day feeding, consuming around 300 pounds of vegetation every single day. They are biological processing machines, but they are inefficient digesters. Much of what they eat passes through their bodies intact. This inefficiency is actually a gift to the forest. When an elephant eats a fruit, it swallows the seeds whole. These seeds travel safely through the giant's digestive tract and are deposited miles away in a pile of nutrient-rich fertilizer. Many African tree species rely entirely on elephants to reproduce. Their seeds will not germinate unless they have passed through an elephant first. As the herd moves, they are planting the forest of the future behind them. They are the mega-gardeners of the continent, sowing the shade that their great-grandchildren will one day stand under. There is a hidden byproduct to this immense consumption. The elephant's digestive system is a massive fermentation tank. As bacteria break down the hundreds of pounds of fibrous grass and leaves, they produce gas, an astonishing amount of it. Scientists have calculated that a single elephant produces enough methane gas in one day to potentially power a car for 20 miles. It sounds almost comical, but on a planetary scale, it is significant. These herds are not just eating, they are processing carbon, pumping invisible energy into the atmosphere. It is a reminder that even the most majestic creature is bound by the messy chemical realities of biology, functioning as a living engine that never turns off. In the dry season, the savanna turns to dust, rivers evaporate into sand, and the waterholes crack open. For most animals, this is a time of desperation, but the elephant has a secret skill. It is a dowser. Using their incredible sense of smell, elephants can detect water flowing deep underground beneath dry riverbeds. When they find the spot, they use their tusks and feet to dig. They excavate deep, narrow wells in the sand until the water seeps up. They drink their fill, but they do not cover the hole when they leave. These elephant wells remain open, saving the lives of zebras, baboons, and birds who would otherwise perish. The elephant is the keeper of the water, unlocking the hidden reservoirs of the earth for the benefit of all. Sometimes, the elephant's impact looks like destruction. A bull elephant will lean his massive head against a tree and push until the roots snap and the tree crashes to the ground. It seems violent, but it is ecologically vital. If left unchecked, the bush would become a dense, impassable thicket. By knocking down trees, elephants open up the landscape. They let the sunlight reach the ground, allowing grass to grow. This creates the open plains that grazing animals like gazelles and wildebeest need to survive. They are the architects of the savanna, balancing the ratio of tree to grass, ensuring that the ecosystem remains diverse and open. There is a universe within the waist of a giant. An elephant's dung is not just refuse, it is a high-value resource. Within minutes of it hitting the ground, it is colonized. The most famous resident is the dung beetle. These industrious insects roll the waste into perfect spheres, burying them underground to feed their larvae. In doing so, they loosen the soil and drag immense amounts of nutrients down to the roots of the grass. A single pile of elephant dung can contain thousands of beetles and other insects, which in turn feed birds and small mammals. The energy flow of the savanna passes through the elephant, down to the beetle, and back into the earth, a perfect closed loop of life. Perhaps the most extraordinary behavior of all takes place on the slopes of Mount Elgon, an extinct volcano on the border of Kenya and Uganda. Here, elephants do something that defies instinct. They walk into the dark. There is a place called Ketum Cave. It is deep, pitch black, and echoes with the sound of bats. Yet, generations of elephants have learned to enter this cave. They walk hundreds of feet into the absolute darkness, navigating by touch and memory. They are seeking salt. The volcanic rock inside the cave is rich in sodium. Using their tusks, they gouge chunks of rock from the cave walls, grinding the stone in their mouths to extract the minerals they need. They have literally widened the cave over centuries of mining. It is a haunting image, the grey ghosts of the forest, standing in the black belly of a volcano, mining the earth for salt. Watching an elephant drink is watching a feat of hydraulics. An adult elephant needs to drink up to 50 gallons of water a day to survive. But they do not drink like a dog or a cat. They do not lap the water with their tongues. They use their trunk as a vessel. They dip the tip into the pool and inhale, creating a powerful vacuum. In a single draw, an elephant can suck up to 2.5 gallons, 10 liters, of water into the nasal cavities of its trunk, but the water never goes into the lungs. With a graceful arch of the neck, the trunk curls up and empties its contents into the mouth. It is a rhythmic, two-step process: fill, tilt, release. It is the most efficient fluid transfer system in nature, allowing a giant to quench a massive thirst without ever bending its knees. Despite their immense weight, elephants are surprisingly buoyant and capable swimmers. They do not just wade, they can cross deep lakes and wide rivers, swimming for miles if necessary. In the water, their bulk becomes an advantage, and they move with a lightness that defies their size on land. But their secret weapon is their trunk. While most mammals have to keep their heads above water to breathe, an elephant can submerge completely. It raises its trunk just above the surface, using it exactly like a biological snorkel. This allows them to swim almost entirely underwater, invisible except for the tip of the nose, drifting weightlessly in the cool currents, relieved of the crushing gravity of the land for a few precious hours. After the swim comes the mud. To human eyes, an elephant rolling in a muddy bank looks like pure play, and it is fun. You can see the delight in their movements, but it is also a critical medical procedure. Elephants have very sparse hair, meaning their skin is exposed directly to the scorching African sun. They can and do get sunburned. To prevent this, they coat themselves in a thick layer of wet clay. This mud dries into a hard, protective crust. It acts as a physical barrier against UV rays, a natural mineral-based sunscreen. It also suffocates ticks and biting flies. The playtime in the mud is actually the application of a protective armor that keeps the skin cool and parasite-free throughout the heat of the day. The bathing ritual has a final step. Once the water has dried and the mud has set, the elephant seeks out dry, loose soil. It sucks the dust into its trunk and blows it over its back and flanks with a gentle whoosh. This creates a cloud of fine powder that settles into the wrinkles of the skin. If the soil is red, the elephant turns red. If it is grey, the elephant turns grey. This dusting acts as a final sealant, locking in the moisture and providing a soft, dry finish to the skincare routine. Watching a herd dust themselves in the evening light is like watching a ceremony of colour as the grey giants slowly take on the hues of the earth they walk upon. To bring a giant into the world requires patience. An elephant pregnancy is a marathon of biology. It lasts for 22 months, nearly 2 full years. It is the longest gestation period of any land mammal on Earth. For context, a human pregnancy is 9 months. A blue whale is pregnant for about a year. But the elephant mother carries her calf through almost 2 full cycles of the seasons. Inside the womb, the calf is growing not just in size, but in complexity. Its brain is forming billions of neural connections, preparing for a life of memory and emotion. Its trunk, that sophisticated fusion of nose and hand, is slowly coiling into shape. By the time it is ready to be born, the calf will weigh over 200 pounds, a walking, breathing monument to biological investment. The moment of birth is sudden. The mother stands, and the calf drops from a height of 3 feet, hitting the ground with a wet thud. This fall is not an accident. It is necessary. The impact breaks the umbilical cord and shocks the lungs into taking their first sharp breath of savanna air. Unlike human infants, who are helpless for months, an elephant calf has no time for weakness. Within 20 minutes, it is struggling to its feet. It is covered in sparse black hair, a fuzzy coat that adult elephants lack, which helps regulate its temperature in the first fragile weeks. Its legs wobble, but they hold. Within an hour, it is walking. Within 2 days, it can keep pace with the herd. It enters the world ready to move, a nomad from its very first hour. There are predators in the bush, lions and hyenas, who watch for the vulnerable. But the herd has a strategy for this. When a calf is born, or when danger is sensed, the adults form a formation known as the protective circle. The calves are ushered into the center. Then the adults turn to face outward, shoulder to shoulder. They create an impenetrable wall of grey skin and white tusks. To a predator looking at this formation, there is no weak point, only a fortress of legs and trunks. Inside the circle, the calf is in the safest place in the wild, surrounded by a literal barrier of family. It is a powerful visual of their society. The strong exist to shield the weak, and the center of their world is always the next generation. For a creature that weighs 6 tons, laying down is a significant logistical challenge. It takes effort to get down, and it takes even more effort and precious seconds to get back up. Because of this, Elephants do most of their sleeping while standing up. They have evolved a unique skeletal feature. They can physically lock their leg joints in a straight position. This requires almost no muscular effort. It turns their legs into solid pillars of bone, allowing them to doze off without collapsing. In the wild, you might see a herd standing perfectly still in the shade of a tree, eyes closed, trunks resting on the ground or draped over a tusk to take the weight off. They are asleep, suspended in a state of vertical rest, ready to move instantly if danger approaches. Sleep is a time of vulnerability. In the open savanna, total silence is dangerous. Therefore, an elephant herd rarely sleeps all at once. They operate on a rotation system. While the mothers and calves doze, at least one or two adults will remain awake. These are the sentinels. They stand guard, facing outward, ears spread to catch the faintest sound, trunks sniffing the wind for the scent of lions or hyenas. This shared responsibility allows the others to achieve a deeper level of rest. They can surrender to sleep completely because they know with absolute certainty that someone is watching over them. It is the ultimate biological pact of trust. While standing naps are useful, they do not provide everything the brain needs. To enter REM sleep, the deep restorative stage where memories are consolidated, muscles must relax completely. For an elephant, this means they must lie down. This happens only every few days, usually late at night. The giant slowly lowers itself onto its side. It is a moment of profound surrender. The massive ribcage presses against the earth. Because their own weight is so crushing, they cannot stay like this for long, usually only 30 minutes to an hour before the pressure on their internal organs becomes too great. But in that brief window, the breathing slows, the heavy lids seal tight, and the giant enters the deep ocean of the dream. Do elephants dream? Science suggests they do. When an elephant is in deep sleep on its side, its behavior changes. The trunk, usually so controlled, begins to twitch and curl. The ears flap softly against the dust. The legs may kick in a rhythmic motion. Neuroscientists believe they are replaying the events of their lives. Given their incredible memories, an elephant's dreamscape must be vast. They are likely dreaming of the long migrations, the location of waterholes, or the social interactions of the day. In the safety of the night, the mind of the giant is still walking, traversing the landscapes of the past, reinforcing the maps that will guide them tomorrow. Humans inhabit a visual world. We navigate by sight, but elephants live in a landscape defined by smell. Their olfactory sense is widely considered the most advanced in the animal kingdom, far surpassing even the bloodhound. They possess nearly 2,000 genes dedicated solely to detecting scent, twice as many as a dog and 5 times as many as a human. With this superpower, an elephant can read the wind like a detailed map. They can distinguish between individual humans, track the location of family members miles away in the dense forest, and most importantly, smell water. An elephant can detect a rainstorm or a hidden spring from up to 12 miles away. When you see a herd suddenly change direction and march with purpose across the dry plains, they are following an invisible scent trail, a highway made of moisture hanging in the air that only they can see. An elephant's eyes are relatively small compared to its massive head, and their vision is not particularly sharp, but they are framed by one of the most striking features in nature: incredible, long, curved eyelashes. These are not for aesthetic beauty. On the dusty, wind-blown savanna, the air is filled with grit, sand, and harsh sunlight. These lashes act as a specialized filtration system. They are incredibly sensitive triggers. If a single grain of dust touches the tip of a lash, the heavy lid snaps shut instantly to protect the eye. Furthermore, Their length casts a permanent, filtered shadow over the eye, shielding it from the harsh glare of the equatorial sun, allowing the elephant to gaze comfortably across the bright landscape without squinting. For such large, thick-skinned animals, elephants are incredibly tactile. They are constantly touching. A calf will lean its entire weight against its mother's leg. Sisters will brush shoulders as they walk. But the most intimate gesture involves the trunk. In moments of stress or reassurance, one elephant will gently place the tip of its trunk into the mouth of another. It looks strange to us, but it is a gesture of profound trust and comfort, similar to a reassuring hug. By tasting and smelling the breath of their friend, they are chemically verifying their bond. It is a chemical check-in, a silent way of saying, "I am here, I know you, and we are safe." It is a strange paradox that such gentle creatures were used for centuries as machines of war. In the ancient world, before the invention of tanks, the elephant was the ultimate heavy armor. The most famous example belongs to the Carthaginian general Hannibal. In 218 BC, Hannibal attempted the impossible. He marched an army, including dozens of North African war elephants, across the freezing, treacherous passes of the Alps to attack Rome. To the Roman soldiers, who had never seen such a beast, the sight of these grey giants emerging from the mountain mist must have been terrifying. Yet, history tells us that the elephants suffered greatly in the cold. It is a somber chapter, a time when their immense strength was turned against their nature, forced to march into the chaos of human conflict instead of the peace of the plains. In the cultures of Southeast Asia, particularly in Thailand and Myanmar, the elephant is not a beast of burden, but a symbol of divinity. Specifically, the rare white elephant. These are not a different species, but animals with a genetic mutation that gives them pale skin, light eyelashes, and toenails that glow like pearls. Historically, a white elephant was considered so sacred that it belonged automatically to the king. It was forbidden to work. It could not be ridden. It lived a life of opulent leisure, fed the finest foods, and bathed in perfumed water. Possessing one was a sign that the monarch ruled with justice and divine favor. It is the ultimate status symbol, a creature considered too holy to be anything but admired. Evolution is usually a slow process, taking millions of years. But recently, scientists have observed something startling. Elephants are evolving before our eyes. Due to the intense pressure of poaching for ivory, having large tusks became a disadvantage. In places like Mozambique, where elephant populations were heavily hunted in the past, a new generation of females is being born without tusks at all. They are the tuskless generation. They have survived because they had nothing for humans to take. It is a rapid, biological response to a threat. The species is rewriting its own genetic blueprint, sacrificing its most iconic feature, the ivory that once made it powerful, in order to become invisible to greed and stay alive. While the tuskless elephants represent survival, there remain a few living legends that represent the past. These are the super tuskers. They are the genetic kings of the species, bulls whose tusks have grown so long and heavy that they nearly scrape the ground when they walk. Each tusk can weigh over 100 pounds. There are fewer than 30 of these giants left on Earth, mostly roaming the Tsavo region of Kenya. They are known by name, like the famous Craig or the late Tim. They are guarded day and night. When a super tusker walks through the bush, moving that immense weight of ivory with a slow, dignified gait, it is like watching a dinosaur. They are the last of the true giants, living monuments to what elephants once were, and what we hope they can be again. When we picture an elephant, we usually picture the African bush elephant, Loxodonta africana. These are the titans. They are the largest living terrestrial animals on Earth. A large bull can stand 13 feet tall at the shoulder and weigh nearly 7 tons, They are built for the open savanna. Their most distinctive feature is their ears. They are massive, shaped remarkably like the continent of Africa itself. These huge surface areas are necessary to dissipate the intense heat of the open plains, where there is little shade. Their tusks are long and curved, growing outward to sweep aside the tall grass and dig into the hard, dry earth. They are the rugged wanderers, the silhouette against the sunset that defines the horizon of the continent. Deep in the dense rainforests of the Congo Basin lives a smaller, more mysterious cousin, the African forest elephant, Loxodonta cyclotis. For a long time they were thought to be the same species, but science has recognized them as distinct. They are the ghosts of the jungle. They are smaller and darker than their savanna relatives. Their ears are more rounded and their tusks are unique. Instead of curving outward, their tusks grow straight down, often pinkish in hue and harder than savanna ivory. This straight shape allows them to move easily through the thick, tangled undergrowth without getting snagged on vines. They are the secret gardeners of the rainforest, creating intricate networks of trails known as elephant boulevards through the impenetrable green. Thousands of miles away, in the humid forests of India, Thailand and Sumatra, lives the Asian elephant, Elephas maximus. They are biologically distinct from their African cousins. The most obvious difference is the ears. They are much smaller, often described as being shaped like the map of India. Their backs are arched and rounded, unlike the dipped back of the African elephant. They have two domes on their forehead, whereas the African elephant has a flat forehead. They are creatures of the forest, not the plains. They have more hair, and their skin is often depigmented in speckled pink patches on their trunks and ears. They are the quiet sages of the bamboo forests, moving with a delicate grace through the twilight of the canopy. On the isolated island of Borneo, evolution has taken a different path. Here lives a subspecies that defies the rule of giants, the Borneo pygmy elephant. They are the smallest elephants in the world. An adult bull stands barely 8 feet tall, smaller than some African cows. But it is their appearance that captures the heart. They have retained juvenile characteristics into adulthood. Their ears are oversized for their heads. Their faces are shorter and rounder, giving them a permanent baby face. Their tails are exceptionally long, often dragging on the ground behind them like a brush. They are gentle, rotund and shy, living quietly in the shadows of the rainforest, a reminder that nature can sculpt size as easily as it sculpts shape. In the African savanna, the arrival of the rains is the most significant event of the year. For months, the land has been brown and brittle. Then, the clouds gather. The smell of wet earth, petrichor, fills the air, and the giants know what is coming. When the first heavy drops fall, the reaction of the herd is euphoric. It is a festival. The calves run and slide in the mud. The adults trumpet and splash in the new pools. The landscape transforms overnight from dusty gold to vibrant green. Waterholes fill up and food becomes abundant. It is the season of plenty, a time when the stress of survival lifts and the herd can focus on the simpler pleasures of eating, bathing and being together. But the green does not last. As the rains retreat, the dry season begins. The waterholes shrink and turn to mud, then to dust. The grass withers. This is the time of the long march. The herd must keep moving to survive. They fall into a silent single-file line led by the matriarch. They walk for miles every day, sometimes through the heat of the noon sun, to reach the next known water source. There is no playing now. The calves walk in the shadow of their mothers to stay cool. It is a test of endurance and memory. The survival of the entire family depends on the matriarch's ability to recall the location of a spring she visited years ago. It is a somber, dignified procession through the heat, a pilgrimage of thirst. In this dry landscape, the elephant has a partner, the baobab tree. These massive, bulbous trees look like they have been planted upside down, with their roots in the air. They are living reservoirs. A large baobab can store thousands of gallons of water in its spongy trunk to survive the drought. Elephants know this. During the hardest times, they use their tusks to gouge into the bark of the tree. They chew the moist, fibrous wood to extract the water and nutrients held inside. It can look destructive, leaving the tree scarred, but the baobab is resilient. It usually heals and regrows its bark. It is an ancient relationship, the giant animal relying on the giant plant to survive the seasons that try to kill them both. Imagine for a moment that you are no longer watching from a distance. You are there, walking beside them. The ground beneath your feet vibrates rhythmically with every step they take. To your left and right, grey legs like ancient tree trunks move with a slow, swinging cadence. The air is filled with the scent of dry grass, red dust, and the warm, musky smell of the animals. You are small, but you are safe. The herd flows around you like a slow river of grey stone. There is no hurry in their step, only a sense of unstoppable momentum. It is a feeling of being carried by something larger than yourself, a pilgrimage of giants moving steadily toward the horizon. Night has fallen. The walking has stopped. The herd has settled into a loose circle to feed in the cool air. In the darkness, your vision fades, but your hearing sharpens. The immense silence of the savanna is broken by a steady, comforting sound. Rip, crunch, pause. It is the sound of dry grass being torn from the earth and chewed. It is a rhythmic, fibrous noise, repeated by a dozen mouths in the dark. This simple sound of eating is the soundtrack of peace. It is a declaration that for tonight there is enough food, the predators are far away, and the family is together. It is the audible rhythm of life sustaining itself. If you look up from the dark, breathing shapes of the elephants, you see the sky. The African night is famous for its clarity. Without any city lights to dim them, the stars burn with a fierce, cold brightness. The Milky Way is not a faint band here. It is a cloud of light, bright enough to cast soft shadows on the ground. The Southern Cross hangs low on the horizon. Beneath this dome of diamonds, the elephants appear as dark, solid silhouettes, mountains of shadow resting under the infinite watch of the galaxy. It is a scene of absolute stillness, where the oldest animals on Earth stand beneath the oldest lights in the universe. We have spoken of the elephant's memory, but as the night deepens, consider the memory of the earth itself. The trails the elephants walk are not new. They are ancient scars on the landscape, worn smooth by the passage of millions of feet over thousands of years. The dust they kick up contains the atoms of their ancestors. The water they drink has cycled through the savanna for eons. The elephant does not just live on the land, it is woven into it. Their story is not a straight line, it is a circle, a constant returning to the places and the people they know. As you rest here, feel that same continuity. You are part of a long, unbroken chain of life that stretches back into the deep past. The giant has stopped. The trunk is still. The great ears have ceased their flapping. The weight of the day has finally settled. Feel that same weight in your own body. The gravity that holds the elephant to the earth is holding you to your bed. It is a gentle, insistent pressure on your eyelids. Do not fight it. Like the matriarch stopping at the end of a long march, you have reached your destination. The work is done. The safety of the herd surrounds you. It is time to close your eyes. You are safe in the quiet. Your breathing is slow and steady. There is nothing left to learn, nothing left to track. Just the peace of the night, just the deep, dreamless sleep of the earth. Rest now. The herd is watching over you. Good night.